I'd like to thank you all for attending this public forum this evening, and I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. I would like to run through the rules that the City Council and staff has prepared for this particular activity. But before I do that, I would like to just note the essentials. And those are water fountains off here to the right, bathrooms, men's and ladies off to my right, to be your left, but go out in the hallway and to the right. With that taken care of, I'd like to introduce the staff members of the Hudson City Hall that are present this evening. Over on your right-hand side is Jan Doonan, clerical staff. Deb Andrews on your left. Pat Dotseth, city clerk, will be our official timekeeper. And Catherine McKintrick is our city attorney. And my name is Brian Grummins, and I'm city administrator. All right, let me start off with the rules. I think there was a handout out by the front door set on the table. Some are pink, some are white. There's no difference. They all read the same. I will start out with the reading of those rules, and we basically want to move along the comments and testimony that we have here tonight so everybody gets an opportunity to speak. So, not that I want to get the big hook and the whip out, but we'd like to adhere to the rules as close as possible in fairness to everybody, no matter which side you're on. All right, we wish to thank you for all attending the special forum for public comment on the St. Croix Meadows Racing Park Draft Environmental Assessment Report and Casino Application. Our goal is to have all public comments or concerns heard, recorded, and submitted to the Bureau of Indian Affairs by August 30th of the year 2000. In the interest of fairness, the following rules will be followed. There are 2 microphones, one for the supporters and one for the opponents of the casino application. We have 2 microphones so that we can reduce the time between speakers traveling up to the microphone so we can keep this thing going. It also allows for speakers to be heard in an alternating format. We will hear an opponent, we will hear a supporter, back to the opponent, back to the supporter. That way we get an even feeling and even comment period. The speakers will be required to print their name, address, city, village, or township, county, and state of residence at the sign-in sheet. You must do that before you speak, and the reason for that is not that we really care to know where you live in particular, but we're having an official transcript made, and we want to be as accurate as possible. So we want to get your accurate spelling of your name, where you live, etc. Okay, so that's the real purpose for that. Speakers will be allowed a maximum of 2 minutes to speak after they have verbally stated their name and address, as in 2 above for the record. So you will sign in, step up to the microphone, basically restate your name, residence, where you live, what county, what township, what city. The 2-minute allocation of time is not transferable to another speaker. 5 people can't take their 2 minutes, collectively make 10-minute block and give it to the 6th person. You get 2 minutes, that's yours. Make your comments as you deem appropriate. You do not have to take the full 2 minutes if you do not wish to. Again, in order to move this along, if you can make your point in 1 minute and 10 seconds, please do so that we can get as many people as we possibly can to speak this evening. Each person has the opportunity to speak 1 time. You get your 1 shot at speaking and allow the next person their opportunity. City of Hudson residents will be heard first. Since this is the City of Hudson and the City Council of Hudson is putting on this forum, it was deemed that the residents of Hudson should have the first opportunity. But that relates to both the opponents and the proponents of this particular issue. So it's not one-sided. It's not a one-sided rule. Written materials submitted must identify the submitter's name and address, as in the rule of number 2, and need to be legibly signed by the submitter. We want to know where these materials come from so we can get that into the record for accuracy purposes. One thing that frustrates at least myself and my job is to get materials and not know where it came from, who gave it, and pretty soon people forget. So we want to know where it came from, so we need the information on your written materials. The media and other waiting speakers should not encroach upon the speaker. I think out of courtesy, we want to give people their space. We all know about 18 inches is our personal space, and the media should not be shoving a microphone in somebody's mouth as they're trying to get their point across. It's distracting and, you know, not going to be allowed. We ask that the audience members respect the speaker's right to voice an opinion. No clapping, verbal, or mechanical noises showing support or opposition to the speaker's comments will be allowed. Again, the purpose is to get your comments on record. You can hold your rallies at a different location from whichever side you wish to be on, but tonight we want to hear what they say, and if you start making noise, the court reporter cannot get that information down correctly and accurately. Speak clearly so the court reporter can accurately record your comments. I don't typically have a problem with this, but some people talk softly. If that happens, we will probably, wave at you and say, could you speak up or get closer to the microphone? All right. I have the volume control over here. If it becomes a problem, I will turn it up for those people that are soft speakers, and hopefully we'll be able to hear those individuals also. And lastly, but not leastly, should anything happen, such as this looks like it's going to go on till 3 o'clock this morning with everybody speaking, I reserve the right to add or modify the above rules to conduct the public forum in a fair, equitable, and efficient manner. What that basically means is if it looks like this is going to really go long and we're hearing the same comments over and over and over again, I may consult with our city attorney and say, maybe we should reduce the time limit down to 1 minute, all right? Again, we want to get as many people to hear their comments as possible, and so that would be the reason for it, not to cut you off, but to get your comments, get them on record, and hopefully let everybody speak that wants to speak. Now, this follows up with one comment that I'd like to make, and that is we've basically rented this facility from the Hudson Public School District for a 3-hour time period, 7 to 10 o'clock. And I'm hoping everybody will get their opportunity to speak that wishes. But my guess is that if we get going too late, we'll have to make a decision, and we'll let you know at that time what that decision would be. All right, this is a public forum. There will not be any motions or actions taken by any governmental agency this evening. There will be no debate of the issues. The Hudson City Council members, if present, are here as individual citizens and may speak as individual citizens. Persons in attendance are invited guests of the Hudson City Council. Please follow the above rules that all persons that wish to speak have their equal chance. All right. My guess is, based on a 2-minute time frame, if everything worked like perfect, we could probably get about 80 to 85 speakers in before 10 o'clock. So let's start this off and see how many we get. What I'd like to do now is open up the floor for debate. Those that wish to speak in opposition will line up at my right, your left. Those that wish to be supporters of the casino application will line up on my left or your right. And you will need to fill in the address sheet. And remember to identify yourself before you speak and where you reside. And with that, we have one question over here. If you vote for the City Council of Hudson, you will be in the first group to speak. So it truthfully is residents of City of Hudson, not just the zip code. Okay? Are we ready?
Could I ask a question? What do you consider a resident? 10 days, voting?
Do you live within the incorporated city limits of Hudson?
30 years. I'm asking for other people.
If you currently live here today,
Bill.
I'm shooting off the cuff here. I suppose I could ask my election
No, I think that's-
city clerk
that's
to
proper.
explain what the ramifications of that are, but I'm going to be liberal in this fact that if you reside within the incorporated city limits of Hudson, that's an apartment, townhome,
If you're
Single family.
eligible to vote. Right?
that sounds reasonable to me.
Get Bill.
But we're not going to sit and verify whether or not they do or do not live in an apartment for 1 or 2 days. So we're going to take your word for it, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks if you don't. That was a joke. Let's have a little levity here this evening. All right. Well, I didn't bring a quarter to flip or nothing, so...
Let them go first. They go first.
All right, we graciously have the supporters have allowed the opponents to the application go first. So with that, again, state your name, where you live, and we'll get on with it.
Okay, thank you. I'm Carolyn Bell. I live at 1016 8th Street here in Hudson. I strongly oppose the casino proposed for Hudson. One concern I hold is the environmental destruction a casino would impose upon the beautiful country in and around Hudson. The water, noise, air, and light pollution expected from such an enterprise would be profound. And clearly, to allow it would be a violation of our obligation of stewardship for this river community. A second and deeper concern I hold is that gambling has negative spiritual consequences both for individuals and for society. Gambling causes people to believe that wealth can be properly obtained by chance and encourages a belief that acquiring a disproportionate share of goods for oneself is a worthwhile goal. We should not force Indian nations to prey upon the weakness of some to finance services needed in their homes and communities. Instead, direct substantive restitution for European American crimes against them should be awarded Indian peoples throughout the United States by our government and indeed by other European established governments throughout the Americas. Government institutions should provide fair and equally sufficient educational, health, and social services for Indians as those currently provided to non-Native communities in the U.S. We are called to use the power that we in the city of Hudson have at this moment in history. We must oppose the establishment of a casino in our city, and we must establish a dialogue with our state and national representatives demanding equal treatment of Indian and non-Indian peoples throughout the United States. I urge the members of the City Council of Hudson and the U.S. Department of Interior, listen to and give voice to your deepest sense of ethics by opposing a gambling casino in Hudson and instead working for economic parity for American Indians through ethical means. Thank you.
Right off the bat, I gotta come back. Please refrain from clapping, because what you're doing is taking the time away from the next speaker. We want to move this on rather fast. If you agree with them, that's fine. If you disagree, that's fine. Let's just keep on moving on without noise and show of emotion or support or opposition. Thank you.
My name is Sandra Berg. I speak in support of the casino. We have about 150 people here tonight, and 25 of them have given me written statements because for one reason or another they do not want to speak tonight. But I guess what I'd like to talk about is something that's been very dear to me over the years, and that is just plain good government. Whether you're for the casino or against the casino, I truly believe that we deserve the best government we can have. And in that regard, yesterday, I found out that after attending the county board meeting last Tuesday, and after reading in the newspaper that the county board spent on my behalf $5,000 to get an independent counsel to address whether or not the contract for services with the tribes was indeed null and void or was in effect, I found out that I could not get a copy of that decision that I paid $5,000 for because it had never been distributed to the Finance Committee or to anyone on the county board. Therefore, it was not a public document. I would like to say that I think as a citizen of Hudson and as a citizen of St. Croix County, we truly deserve better government. And at this time, I'd like to present the written statements, and I would acknowledge that some of them do not have addresses. And I can take care of that later because we do have the addresses for these people.
Hi, my name is Mary Hawksford. I'm a Hudson resident for almost 15 years now. To start, I would like to thank the City Council for having this public meeting. I believe that most Hudsonites are aware that you, as private citizens, have spoken out with your personal opposition to the casino. Tonight, I look forward to the hearing of many, many different detriments that this proposed casino would cause in regards to traffic, wastewater treatment capacity, air, light, and noise pollution, accessibility to the new hospital, and increased crime, just to name a few. In addition to those concerns is the reality of increased drunk driving the casino would bring to our beautiful area. Back in March of this year, the City of Hudson received a carbon copy of a letter from the Executive Director of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. This letter was addressed to the Department of Interior, stating that that group's concerns regarding the casinos were as follows. Two key points of this letter were: 1, drunk driving arrests increased by 13.9% in the casino and adjacent counties as compared to non-casino counties. And secondly, Mothers Against Drunk Driving writes, by building a casino in Hudson, Wisconsin, drunk driving in the community will increase and the results could be tragic. The estimated number of visitors the proposed casino would handle a day is approximately 10,000. That is up considerably from the average of 460 visitors a day the dog track now hosts. If we figure in the increased drunk driving statistic, Hudson citizens can expect increased drunk drivers in our surrounding areas. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. To me, children and drunk driving are not compatible. With the YMCA camp and proposed elementary school within walking distance of the proposed casino, I believe this mix could be deadly. Thank you.
My name is Tom Redner. I'm a resident of the city of Hudson. And this, Mr. Moderator and the mayor and the members of the council, the one thing that I find most fascinating this evening is the fact that we're here at all. The purpose of a public hearing or a public forum is to hear comments about the merits of a plan, the merits of a proposal, a resolution, or some work product under consideration by a governmental body. Tonight there is no work product, nothing. This meeting is a sham. We have not had the chance to see your EA because it does not yet exist. We are supposed to comment about something nobody has seen, and then the council will supposedly take everything that is said here tonight, assemble it to suit themselves, and forward it to the BIA. This meeting is another example of the micro mismanagement that this council has inflicted on the city. They leave mayhem, confusion, and litigants in their wake. They'll listen to what you say. Some say that the farther you live from the city, the more the council listens. It doesn't seem to matter if you pay taxes here or not. They listen. In fact, we're here tonight due to the council manipulation 5 years ago after listening to non-city residents. The amazing thing is that they're still micromanipulating. We have all heard the opponents of the casino scream that the proponents are in your face and tricky. I believe that they are looking at themselves, the council, and the rest of Adler's army when they make these accusations. I say that these manipulations should stop at this time. The council should take comments on an EA after it has been published and been looked at by the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I would personally like to thank the council, the mayor, and the people in attendance here for coming tonight. Dick Pearson, I'm sorry. 1109 Crestview Drive, Hudson, Wisconsin. Been here since 1987. Contrary to what Mr. Redner said, I do not believe this is a sham. I think it's a good meeting. I would like to just briefly, and I won't get redundant here and go into all the innumerable problems that gambling would bring to our fine community. Back in 94, 95, I happened to be on the council at that time when this issue came about. At that time, I took the time, if you will, and I brought it along tonight. Anyone on the fence or anyone has any doubts about the impact of gambling in communities, I took the time to read this report here. It's sponsored by the Ford Foundation. 221 pages. Believe me, folks, I read the entire thing. The devastating effect that casinos have on communities, after reading this here, obviously had a major factor in my decision. In lieu of getting into all the problems, we've all heard horror stories about people that have cheated their employer, their family, and whatnot. What I'm concerned about is my family, my children, my grandchildren, and the impact that this casino, if it were to happen in this community, could literally destroy this fine community. Briefly, a week ago I was in a meeting with two gentlemen from Redwood Falls, Minnesota, and I do believe that's where they first had gambling, Indian gambling. And we got talking about it, and I said, what's your feeling? And he said, true, because it was an isolated community, it did have some impact on their economic issue. However, he said, we never had to lock our doors, never had to lock our houses. Everything since that time has changed. Thank you very much.
Okay. Paul Singer House, 2148 Beedman Drive, Hudson, Wisconsin. Yes, I'm a proud supporter of the casino. I wonder if the Hudson City Council and those opposed to the casino realize and are proud of how much money it is going to cost the taxpayers of St. Croix County. What a waste of money, and yes, money is important. That's what our city planners use to get new business into town, and educational systems used to finance new schools. Safety issues. There's no safer place than in a casino in the surrounding area. The gloom and doom around this issue is a ridiculous excuse for not supporting a casino. How many people are sexually abused, kidnapped, murdered, drunk, or have driving violations at a casino? Very few, if any. Some of these sexually abused, kidnapped, murderers, drunks, driving violators are done other places in our great city of Hudson every day. Ask the great people who know, our local law enforcement. Thanks for the great job they're doing. Let's face the facts. A few people abuse gambling. So will we close down the casinos? The answer is no. If that's the way we solve problems, we are in trouble. A few people abuse marriages in many ways. Do we stop the wedding vows? A few people abuse children. Do we close these institutions that are responsible? A few people abuse driving privileges. Do we eradicate these privileges for the good of all? The answer is no. If the Hudson City Council treated all other abuses like they're treating the casino, that would be fair, but they don't, and that's discrimination, nothing to be proud of. The Hudson City Council and the St. Croix County Board blowing one of the greatest opportunities they will ever have to do something great for our county. I hope they sleep well, realizing how much they're costing the taxpayers and working people of St. Croix County. It's just unbelievable. Thanks for listening.
My name is David Miller. I live at 405 Locust Street in the city of Hudson. Before I get started, I would like to remind everybody in this room that I look around on both sides of the aisle, pro and con, and I see friends and neighbors that have differences of opinion with me, but in spite of this, I still consider them to be my friends and neighbors. And when this is over, whether this casino comes in or not, I hope that I can still consider them my friends and neighbors. Everybody here should be proud of themselves for coming here and have the courage to speak their opinion regardless of what it is. And I respect all of you for having the courage to do that. I hope you respect me for having the right to disagree with some of you. Now, the concerns that I have about this casino, I'm going to just make them very quickly. First of all, City of Hudson School District several years ago bought a plot of land in very close proximity to this casino to build a new school. The long-range planning efforts of the school district are going to be null and void if the State Assembly succeeds with passing a bill that will make it unlawful for schools to be within a certain proximity of a gambling establishment. The school district land falls within those parameters. If the State Assembly passes that law, the city school district will have to reevaluate their long-range planning and find a new site for a school facility, and thereby delay expansion of the school buildings that the city needs because of our growth. The other thing I'd like to address is the fact that casino, once it becomes under tribal control, becomes a sovereign entity. A sovereign entity has limited liability for civil recourse if anybody should go there, receive a personal injury or any kind of personal property damage. Their civil liability and recourse against the casino management is limited. And I'd like everybody here to consider the risks they're willing to take and the risks that we'd like to place our children in by allowing a large increase in transient traffic into the community of Hudson. Thank you.
My name is Betty Singerhouse, 2148 Beaneman Drive, Hudson, Wisconsin. I live right next door to the dog track in Hudson, Wisconsin, and I am a proud supporter of the proposed casino. Thank you.
My name is Lori Bernard. I live at 1509. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Lori Bernard. I live at 1509 Laurel Avenue here in Hudson. My husband Peter and I have lived in Hudson for 6 years and plan to live here with our son for many years to come. We've heard for some time about the potential consequences of the Four Feathers Casino being built in Hudson, including most recently the study by ERG of Minneapolis, which proved to be quite damning. We can no doubt debate the extent to which the casino will have negative effects on Hudson and surrounding communities. However, I don't think that we can intelligently refute the fact that there will be negative effects. Whether through increased traffic, light, noise, or air pollution, lost revenue from other city businesses, churches, and charities, an increase in drunken driving in the area, or simply losing our reputation as a beautiful riverway town and becoming known as a casino town, we will all feel the effects of the casino in one way or another. Now let's consider the potential benefits of the casino. Yes, jobs will be created. But if you look at the classified ads in our local newspapers, you'll find many tax-paying employers also looking for valuable, competent employees. One must also worry about their fate in an increasingly competitive job market. We are told of the potential revenues various communities will receive, but let us remember, this is limited revenue for a limited time. One other factor looms largely over this debate, and that is that this casino is expected to be wildly successful. Or let's face it, this debate would not have gone on this long. For Four Feathers to minimize the size and underestimate the projected attendance of the casino is a bit ironic and, quite frankly, not very believable. We must also remember that as the casino becomes more successful, the benefits to Hudson and surrounding communities will not increase accordingly, and in fact, the negative impacts may well grow exponentially. In the end, the facts are on our side. When one weighs the limited benefits versus the potentially significant, negative, and long-term effects of this casino, the right decision is to say no. Not here, not now, not ever.
I'm Dennis Benton. I live at 121 12th Street in Hudson. I've been a resident of Hudson for over 14 years. I was here when the dog track controversy started, and I'm hearing the same lame explanations and excuses for not wanting the casino. And many of the things that were said, in fact, all of them that were said about the dog track did not come true. And the things about the casino probably will not come true either. The environmental impact about noise and noise pollution and light pollution is a lot of baloney, because none of the gambling is going to be going on outside. As far as drunk drivers are concerned, there's more drunk drivers down Main Street in downtown Hudson, or 2nd Street, or whatever you want to call it, than there ever will be on Carmichael. That's all I have.
My name is Peter Bernard. I live in the city of Hudson, and I imagine that the costs and benefits of the casino could be debated for years. However, my position is simple. I do not want a casino in Hudson. I never have and I never will. I believe very strongly in the right of the people of Hudson to determine our own fate regarding the casino, and hope that government officials involved in this decision-making process remember that. The proposed casino is not to be built in Roberts or New Richmond, and I resent those communities exchanging support for the casino for money at our expense. I might ask that those communities pursue developing the casino in their own towns instead of Hudson. Thank you.
My name is Sharon Lacoste. I'm a lifelong resident of Hudson, and personally I don't gamble other than to play bingo. However, I do feel a casino would be an asset to Hudson and the surrounding communities. One big reason is the constantly rising taxes and the high cost of living in the Hudson area. The wages haven't changed much since the 70s, and they do not support the cost of living. Housing costs in Hudson are atrocious and require 2 incomes for most young families. The casino would provide a second income with decent wages. My reasons for support are too numerous to address in the time allotted here. However, if anyone would like to discuss them with facts, not fiction, I'm in the phone book. Thank you.
My name is Priscilla Wyeth. I live with my husband and 2 children at 611 12 Oaks Lane, and have lived there for almost 12 years. I'm a volunteer with the Hudson Soccer Association, work with my children in 2 of our schools, and with various community organizations. I'm speaking against the casino because a casino, no matter who owns it, is antithetical to a high quality of life, and most certainly to the kind of life we want for our children and ourselves. A casino that becomes sovereign territory forever beyond the control of the local constituents will be a cancer visited on us and our children for generations. It's been pointed out that the location Four Feathers desires is immediately adjacent to the land this school district just bought for a new elementary and middle school. We tie the hands of our school district and we force them to choose between building on a site that's now next to a casino, with the very real possibility that voters such as yourselves will deny a referendum to build a school there, and abandoning the site and finding a new one, yet there's no property left in the area because of the development that's been going on. From an infrastructure and services perspective, Hudson simply cannot handle a facility such as the proposed casino. Our roads, water, sewer, police, and emergency services are strained as it is by Hudson's current exponential growth. The casino predicts that 11,000 people at minimum will visit the first year. Hudson's population is only about half that. If you combine the projected casino visits with the projected increase in the number of residents, never mind any new developments that are coming along, you quickly realize how much money we will be spending on roads, water, sewer, and utilities, new fire and police and sheriff's facilities, and all the necessary staff and equipment. There are no tax breaks here. There is lots of tax spending that will come. Frankly, a casino is an attraction that can be built anywhere. It doesn't depend on view or atmosphere or character. It needs only good roads and utilities. Somewhere other than Hudson.
Good evening. My name is Alex Alexandro, and I live at 1012 Summer Street, Hudson. I'd just like to say that I am in favor of the casino. I feel that the casino will open some job opportunities for individuals that are living in our community, may it be part-time or full-time positions, even for some of our seniors that are living on fixed income that may want to work part-time. As far as the environmental impact, I think that some of the facts or some of the so-called facts have been distorted in regard to water pollution, river pollution. As a boater on the St. Croix River, I would have to say that there would be no more pollution or boat traffic than if we had booster days, or if we had the Arts and Craft Festival that we normally have, or if Stillwater had their lumberjack days. Also, the Department of Natural Resources and the Corps of Engineers at this time will not allow any more marinas built in our community, so I really don't see an impact of water pollution up the St. Croix River. As far as the St. Croix camp, I think that the camp sits way far from the casino to the point where if our children are roaming the area out by the road, then we have poor supervision in our day camp. And as far as a last minute statement, I'd like to say that if this community is concerned about drunk driving with casinos, they ought to look down at the bottom of Cooley Road when Casanova's draws hundreds of cars every weekend and watch people from Minnesota come over and buy alcohol on a Sunday from 9 o'clock until whenever they close and drive our roads in our community. And that, to me, is an environmental and a community issue. Thank you.
My name is Earl Roger Fairbanks. I live 1004 South Front Street in Hudson. I'm up here tonight to make sure I get on the record in opposing to a casino in Hudson. I'm also speaking for my wife, Ruby, even if it doesn't count. I'm going to make it short because a lot of people here are covering the area pretty well. My three basic environmental reasons for not wanting a casino are: 1, traffic congestion; 2, air pollution due to the traffic congestion; and thirdly, the St. Croix River, which will be heavily taxed with the additional sewage treatment for a dog track. And of all the rivers in the world that should be protected to the ultimate is the St. Croix River. I thank you very much.
My name is Don Bruns. I live at 609 Wisconsin Street. I'm a former alderman. I was for 10 years in the city of Hudson. I've heard most of these arguments before, and none of them are new. They're all old. So I think they should be put away, and let's get behind a casino. A casino will provide new jobs, better wages, and that's what a lot of businesses are afraid of. And they'll provide a lot of community services. I thank you.
My name is Tim Caruso. I live at 1128 3rd Street. I've lived in Hudson for over 25 years. I drove up UU tonight and looked at the traffic coming from the freeway, and it was 3 blocks long at the intersection of Carmichael and UU, and I said, wow, this community's really growing. And that's a good thing. I don't think there's anyone that disagrees with that. The people that come in, build new buildings, houses, commercial, and that's all. We get impact fees off of that, we get more taxes, our roads are paid for. With a casino, I don't think that's going to be the case. There's no requirement for that to happen. Promises are made to other communities that they will pay them a certain amount of money. What do we get as a neighbor? Those other communities, some of them has accepted, and our good neighbor in River Falls has said, no, this is a bribe. It's nothing more than a bribe. As a neighbor, the casino so far has threatened us with a lawsuit. That's the kind of neighbor we're getting so far. I called the city of Turtle Lake last week. Up until 1998, the city of Turtle Lake received $15,000 a year from the Turtle Lake Casino. That is a mere pittance, a token for what their expenses were. In 1992, they had 1 full-time policeman and 1 part-time policeman. They currently have 4 full-time policemen and 2 part-time policemen. Think of the added expense to that city's budget. They also have, the governor required the BIA to ask them to reconsider what they had to pay that city. The city is now being paid $170,000 a year. Think of the impact that this casino will have. One of the people coming up told you about Lumberjack Days, that it would be like Lumberjack Days, or it would be like the 4th of July Booster Days here. Think of that impact every day of the year. That's not just Lumberjack Days, that's not just 4th of July. Every single day, that's what they're telling you. Thank you.
My name is Mike Lazaris, and I'm a resident of Hudson for the last 2 years. And I'm a supporter of the casino. I do believe that it would bring in a lot more jobs. And everything that I've been reading in the paper that was thrashed out 9 years ago about traffic and crime and you name it, I've read it. And I haven't seen any of this at all generated by the dog track. I visited many casinos, and I see very, very, very little crime. I think it'll be a great benefit to Hudson, and I am a supporter, like I say, of the casino coming in. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Dennis Palaha. I live at 912 12th Street, Hudson, Wisconsin, and I'm here, I guess, on the anti-casino side. I had some ideas that I thought made sense. I don't know if they do now or not. Based on reading things in the newspaper and listening to the kinds of talk that's going on here. I have a PhD in environmental economics, and I know that how things can be twisted around. The Army Corps of Engineers was in trouble for lying about a dam on the Mississippi River. Very simply, if the environmental concerns that have been raised could be proven to exist, the casino would not be approved. The trouble is you can't prove that ahead of time. And so far, every environmental issue that's been raised has been dismissed by the pro-casino side. And so my idea was that if Hudson listed very carefully all the concerns that they have, and then if the casino is built, and if any of the concerns end up to be true, then the casino could be closed down. The idea being that giving somebody a business license does not mean they have a license to destroy the environment or adversely affect the environment. The dog track isn't raising problems because it was a failure, which is why we're talking about the casino. That shouldn't keep being brought up. And I have one other odd issue, which I don't know if I have time to explain or not. Since the Department of the Interior has to declare non-Indian land as a reservation in order to build a casino, I had the idea that at the same time they could maybe declare everybody in Hudson a Indian, in which case we would all get a share of the casino revenue. That's basically it. Thank you.
My name is Dick Faust. I live at 909 Fox Street, Hudson. I've been to casinos in Wisconsin and Minnesota, and I can count the number of drunks I've associated with, maybe 2. And I go through downtown Hudson every weekend coming home from work. And if I don't watch, I run over something. There's just many drunks in town now as there will ever be if there's a casino. And I strongly support the casino, and thank you.
My name is Lana Schoberg. I live at 1108 Vine Street in Hudson, Wisconsin. This community has so much to offer. It is a clean, safe place. We have protected waterways, good schools, a positive business climate. People I know work hard, help less fortunate, give generously of their time and talents. watch out for each other, pitch in when tragedy strikes. We put our energy into doing what is right. I vote no to a casino in Hudson because of all the negative effects gambling would have on this beautiful town, the people who live, work, play, and volunteer here. Thank you.
My name is Roland Becker. I've lived here for 38 years, and I've been reading the paper and different things, and we had a CPA that wrote a letter to the editor, and he said that we would have crap tables, roulette tables, prostitution, and I have never seen that in Hudson. And I'm for it. I work out there. I make a living out there. I pay my taxes with the money that I earn out there, and I'm getting sick and tired of everybody that just kind of bad. Thank you.
My name's Roy Schoberg. I'm a lawyer. Don't hold that against me, though. I did want to investigate. I want to cover 3 points. First point is I called up the Attorney General's department and I said, have you investigated these offers that have been made in cash to our neighboring communities, and do you consider those to be bribes? And the Attorney General's office said back to me, no, we're sorry, Mr. Schoberg, as much as we want to claim those to be shameful and unethical, there's no law against them at this time. Well, I say to you, we're going to change that so that there will be a law, because if you were to make those same bribes to individuals, those individuals would be in prison. But if you make those same offers to communities, there's an exemption. It doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't be able to do to a government that which you can't do to an individual. That has to be changed. Secondly, Croyland Properties 10 years ago promised this community $250,000 a year in charitable contributions for each year if the dog track was built. Folks, there is a dog track. Where's the money? All we have is a broken promise. Lastly, I'm the director of community action. I'm a director of the Hudson Hospital Board. I'm a director of the community fund. I'm a director I was a past director of Christian Community Home. Most importantly, I'm a Cub Master. And with all those jobs, what I try to do is volunteer my time for this community to build developmental assets. Those developmental assets would be crushed if we have a casino. Indications in Iowa are compulsive gambling goes from 1.7% to 5.4%. So that's a fourfold increase in gambling, of compulsive gambling problems. Add to that, 1 out of every 5 compulsive gamblers tries to commit suicide. Now, for the lame excuses that I've been heard, you talk to Mr. Lee, whose son committed suicide for compulsive gambling. 1 suicide from Treasure Island. So there's the lame excuse to oppose casinos. Thanks.
My name is Terry Powers. I live on Gray Street in Hudson. I'm a 20-plus year resident. And I have to make the assumption that our prior speaker also asked the Attorney General about tax incremental financing paid to businesses to come to Hudson, because that's a bribe also. I don't understand where this bribe stuff comes from. My main reason I wanted to speak is several years ago, there was a referendum in Hudson, and the referendum passed in Hudson. The referendum stated, do you wish to see the dog track converted to a casino? And it passed. Well, it conveniently seemed to have been thrown in the garbage because you never heard another word about a referendum, and all we hear about is how everybody in Hudson is anti-casino. Well, there was a referendum and it passed, so therefore everybody is not anti-casino unless it fits your terms. Secondly, the Concerned Citizens of Hudson, that organization, should just change their name to Anti-Casino Citizens of Hudson, because the only concern I've ever seen from them is anti-dog track. There was no concern with the gigantic hole that was cut through the area there to access the industrial park that looks horrific. There's no concern about the thousands of homes that are being built and the traffic in the sewage treatment plant there. The concerns with crime, I think, is ludicrous. The casinos are some of the safest places you'll ever want to be because of the security. Drunk driving, they've never ever said that they were going to have alcohol. There is no alcohol in in the Hayward Casino. There is currently alcohol at the dog track, but they haven't stated that it would be there. If you're that concerned about the city of Hudson, as you state you are, go downtown on a Saturday night. Take a look at the drunks down there. Go to the, as was mentioned earlier, the liquor stores in Hudson. Be a real concerned citizen of Hudson, not just anti-casino. Thank you.
Hi, Paul Stoy, 804 12th Street, Hudson. I'm going to bring up a case study that other people will mention too, and that's of Atlantic City. They have the casino, and people say that they might be well off, and the casino brings economic benefit, whatnot. That's just not the case. The money probably won't stay here over there in Atlantic City. It goes elsewhere. New York, Philadelphia. The town, Atlantic City, is an atrocity. Have you been there? Poverty, rampant. It's a disgrace. I'd be embarrassed to be from there. We make money here because of our style and our culture, our uniqueness. I can't even find a parking spot in Stillwater sometimes during the summer because they know why people come here. It's because we're the St. Croix Valley. So sometimes we realize this, but yeah, we need to. We've already had one fiasco, the track. I mean, haven't we learned? I was proud to grow up here. This place is a perfect place, a perfect community for me to be raised since the age of 2. I've been a bit embarrassed recently. I've been laughed at when I've said that I've been from Hudson, and that just isn't cool. I wasn't happy with that at all. We need to realize that what we are about isn't about a casino. We're about us, and we need to keep it that way. Thank you very much.
I'd like to remind everybody that we did still have the Hudson resident as a preference. We are running down, and once I open it up to any supporter, then you'll just have to fill in. So you might be one of the last Hudson residents, and so if you are a Hudson resident and wish to speak, this will be like your last cattle call. Please come up and form the line. Okay? Thank you.
My name is David Roker. I live at 454 Highway 35 South in Hudson. And one of the roughest jobs there is in this country, in the defense of this country, is the infantry. When I was in the infantry in Vietnam in 1969 and 70, a disproportionate number of infantrymen were Indians. I support the Indians on this issue because of the support that they have given us and our country in Vietnam and all the other wars that we've had. I would also like to say to the veterans on both sides of this issue, thank you for serving your country.
My name is Scott Holmes. I'm a resident of 1025 6th Street. I live there with my wife and 2 small children. And it's really because of my children that I'm here. I want to also state that I am part of Native American, and I really am sympathetic with the tribes, and I think it's great that they're trying to better themselves and look at creative ways to improve their community. But I say that a casino is not compatible with Hudson. One, I think we need to look at, the tribes are not local. They're from quite a ways away. And I've heard a lot from the supporters talking about the jobs that are created. We have to be realistic here. These jobs are primarily service industry jobs. And I think as we look at the help wanted ads, as somebody already mentioned, it's a very tight labor market right now. And this is going to add stress to the existing established businesses in Hudson who pay taxes. While some businesses stand to benefit for some increased business, they also have the issues with higher labor costs. As we look at all the additional jobs that the casino would bring, where are these people going to live? Anybody that's trying to buy a house here, affordable house in Hudson, there is a shortage of existing affordable houses. You look at the new houses that are being built, are they affordable? There are a few, but the bulk of them are what you'd call starter castles. Nothing that somebody tending bar or dealing cards at the casino is going to be able to afford. So these employees are going to live outside of the bulk of them are going to live outside of Hudson. This increases the traffic. Traffic is a big issue. I think as you look at the hospital and the school up there, I think, and the existing and proposed businesses that are going up there, again, tax-paying businesses, this is an issue. But I want to my last point here is really the issues with drinking. And as a father of 2 small children, there's nothing more that frightens me. In fact, I've had nightmares on this. The fact of having to take a child to the ER and then being hit by a drunk driver. Thank you.
My name is Sunday Lazarus. I've lived in Hudson for almost 3 years. I work at the racetrack. I'm a trainer. I think it's a very safe place. I think the casino would be very secured and very safe too. And I'm very proud to be a supporter of the Hudson Casino.
My name is Elizabeth Woolley. I live in 642 Kinnickinnick Street in Hudson. I oppose the building of a casino where I chose to live in this beautiful city of Hudson. I could have lived anywhere in the world, but I chose to live here because of the family atmosphere it has. Our city has many businesses that adds to its beauty. This is a business that will take away from that beauty. I think we should build it in one of the neighboring towns that support it, and then everyone will be happy. I am opposed to this casino for personal reasons. I live in Hudson because there are no casinos in this area. I hate casinos because of what they do to families and people. I hate casinos because what I have seen the presence of the casino do in Turtle Lake. I was raised in Osceola, which is 30 miles north of Hudson and 15 miles west of Turtle Lake. And I've always lived in this area of Hudson. And as an adult, I was here before the casinos were here, and I saw the devastation that it brought to that town and to my own family. The casinos are adding an antisocial atmosphere to this country. We do not need that. We need more volunteers. We need people helping people. We need places that will enhance the love between human beings and not diminish it by placing them in a casino with a machine. I saw my relatives taking money that they could have spent at a business or receive a service to enhance their lives. Instead, they dump them into casinos when they leave alone with nothing but emptiness and regret. And they have to go back because that was fun. They call it fun because this is now a government-held entity that is no longer considered immoral. My ex-fiancé was a casino kind of guy. He likes them. He now has married a woman who likes casinos just as much as he does. He no longer helps people or visits his children because he goes to the casino when he has spare time. He drops off his money there and leaves with nothing but, if only I hit the big one, I can hardly wait to do this again. He is really enhancing his life and everyone's around him. I have an article from a St. Paul paper because the rebels of this casino will also affect the people in Minnesota as well as Wisconsin. And it talks about the rise of gambling addiction in Minnesota.
My name is Gordon Knutson. I'm a resident and a business owner in the city of Hudson, and I support the proposed St. Croix Meadows Casino. There's been a lot of material published and discussed regarding the proposed casino. The pros and cons of this proposal have been the topic of discussion at many levels in and outside the community. There's a group of residents supporting the casino proposal, a group opposing it, and in my opinion, a larger group who are undecided, don't care, or will not express an opinion. Since the environmental assessment study from the city is not complete yet, my primary input tonight is to provide comments regarding the study currently being done for the city. It appears by viewing the city council meetings on TV and reading the newspapers, this is not an unbiased study. The implications by council members to the company doing the study is to find everything you can that is negative with the proposed casino. I have not heard one member say that if you find something positive, make sure it's also included in your report. Also, who's making the determination of what is positive or negative? Since you are spending taxpayers' money on this study, it should be an unbiased, neutral study and not a one-sided, unbiased, or biased study. The results should be based on facts, starting with neutral parameters and not with some preconceived anti-agenda issues. Remember, you have residents in the city that are against the casino, some in favor of it, and many that have no position. As city council members, it is your responsibility to investigate all sides of an issue and not just one side. Would you be spending this amount of money on the study if it was only your pocketbook instead of the taxpayers? Using all taxpayers' money and biased starting points, this hints to the phrase taxation without representation. Regarding the study, why are you doing this study on the casino and not planning one in the 600 or so acres included in the proposed annexation? What about past developments of Target, Kmart, Walmart, and others? Was this study on these new businesses? I'm sure the commercial development of hundreds of home sites between Stage Line and Hagen Street will have substantial impact on the city services.
Hello, my name is Joe Fite. I live at 802 6th Street in Hudson. I am proud to say I am the coordinator of Concerned Citizens of Hudson, which is a grassroots community group which is fighting to keep Hudson Casino free. And I would like to thank, before I forget, all of the hundreds of volunteers who've helped me and helped Nancy and others out over the past 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13 years that we've been fighting the dog track and now the casino. I'd also like to thank the City Council for holding this forum. They have been silenced in terms of taking action as a group, but everyone is well aware of their feelings as individuals. These letters right here are heartfelt letters that our group has received just over the past 2 days. I picked up in our P.O. box. They're copies of letters that were sent to Nancy Pierscall of the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Obviously, they're not the actual letters, but they're copies of them. Every day I check our P.O. box, and there are 40 to 50 more letters stuffed in there. Not everyone is sending copies to us, but if this is any indication, thousands of people are writing to her with their concerns about this proposed casino. The deadline for sending in your concerns is 1 week from tomorrow, August 30th. If you have not done so already, please write your letter tonight. We have paper, pens, pencils, envelopes on our table outside the gym there. This calendar is the Hudson School District calendar. As most of you know, school starts the day after tomorrow. I wonder, will our children someday make field trips to see how the casino works? I wonder if our high school students will look forward to their 21st birthday so they can go celebrate at the new Hudson Casino. God, I hope not. Take action now. Contact your Hudson School Board members. Let them know that this fiasco of the proposed casino would hurt our children. I stand before you to ask our school board members to officially oppose the casino in the strongest wording possible. They owe it to us, and they owe it to the children. We have forms out there if you'd like to take them home.
Hi, I'm Joe Bebo from Hudson. Just want to say I think the benefits far outweigh any negative impact the casino might have, and I am a supporter of the casino. Thank you.
Josh Pettit, 2212 Cattail. I am a true concerned citizen of Hudson and a soccer coach. And I'm sorry if these concerns are old and you have heard them before, but they are still very true. The reasons why I believe a bad or worse traffic effect, all hours of the day in a family-based community, more noise and air pollution, increased chances of drunk driving and drunk driving accidents, increased costs for gambling addictions, ruin the chances for proposed grade school nearby, unsafe and undesirable atmosphere for YMCA Camp St. Croix kids, increased costs for police and jail time. I've recently built a home nearby and I plan on raising my own family there. I do not want anything unsafe or of bad influence and possibly harmful surrounding me while I start a family based and centered around beliefs and morals opposite of what this casino would bring. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Debbie Gary, and I live in Richmond, Wisconsin right now, but I am a 48-plus year resident of Hudson, so that tells you I'm an ancient one. I wanted to let you know that you need a little history of what Hudson is about. When I was in high school at good old Hudson High School, we did have a problem with prostitution in Hudson back then. It still is present in the same area. We did have a problem with drunkenness back then. I don't know if anybody ever remembers Len's Bar in North Hudson. A lot of old people are recognizing that. We did have a problem where we did not have anything downtown for business except bars, which is still there, beauty shops, and lawyers. At that time, Hudson was dying. We didn't have any doctors. We needed to get doctors. I strongly believe that Hudson had to realize that we are going to be going into a progressive future. We have to grow and expand our horizons and our thought process if we are going to be viable. I strongly believe that we would not have had Walmart, Kmart, Target, and all those activities if the dog trade had not come in. I strongly believe that a lot of the Menards, that sort of thing, would not have come in either, because of the fact that even when I was growing up, before any of this thing came in, everybody was traveling into the cities to spend their money. Now, I can well imagine that most people here are also working in the cities, and where is most of your money spent? I don't believe it's in Hudson. I think that we need to get some of that money back, and I believe that the taxes are going to make a big difference. I would be living in Hudson today had it not been the fact I could not afford it because the tax base is so high. I believe the casino will help relieve that.
My name is Deborah McFeeters, and I live at 905 7th Street. I have been a lifelong resident. I won't state how many years. But there are many reasons that have been voiced tonight why I am strongly opposed to a casino. But there are also 3 reasons that I strongly believe we do not need one here. They are called Mystic Lake, Treasure Island, and Turtle Lake. We do not need another one. These are all within an hour's drive of Hudson. We do not need another casino here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Van Ort from Woodbury, Minnesota, Washington County, across the river. I've been passionate about racing greyhounds at your dog track for the last 8 years. I've enjoyed it immensely, and one of the things that I really felt strongly about tonight is coming out and speaking out is, I don't know how many of you have ever been to a casino-type dog track. I have, because of the failing track here, I've had to look for alternative places to run my dogs. I've been to those tracks. They're clean, they're neat, they're nice, and they are great for the communities. I have seen no high crime. I've been to Dubuque, and I've been to Bluffs Run. I've been to Prairie Meadows, and a lot of it was for my own selfish reasons, but I want to share it with all you folks so that you can make an informed decision. Thank you.
My name is Ralph Van Koolen. I'm the Director of Auditing for a multinational corporation based in the Twin Cities. I've actually sat across from an individual, in fact multiple people, who've been terminated because they've stolen from our company, and they oftentimes cite gambling as the reason for doing that. I want to cite a situation to our business owners. You don't understand the costs that you're going to incur as a small business by having your employees steal from your company, and you're not yet prepared for it, and you may not understand it. For all the jobs that people cite are going to be created in this community because of the casino at modest wages, you're going to lose an equal number of jobs in companies that will not locate in this community because of the casino. I'm also concerned about additional crime and traffic that it will cause. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Scott Rule. I'm from Minnetonka, Minnesota. First of all, I'm here to support the casino. Please, everyone, have an open mind. You got to look at the future. That's why everyone's here today. Forget the past. We have so much technology today. If they're worried about the pollution, everything else, don't worry. That's what we're here for. We're here for a team. First of all, it's going to create jobs for this town, Hudson. It's going to cut taxes for the state of Wisconsin. The crimes is one of the lowest anywhere. I'll tell you that right now. I went to Mystic Lake. I've seen all the casinos, and it's a big benefit. There are big supporters for the community, for sports, For example, if they have to go to a state tournament, they will benefit that and support that. This is all a positive direction for this city of Hudson. You get the other states from Minnesota instead of the other states of Wisconsin people going out to these casinos. Again, this is a positive direction. It will cut taxes, and I'll tell you right now, it's going to work. I believe it's going to work. It's going to help everyone here. Got to think positive. It will help. And don't forget, I'll tell you something right now. These homes are 500,000 homes in Hudson. Don't work in Hudson. They work in Minneapolis. So I'm telling you right now, they may not want it. Who's fooling who? I know these casinos will work. Most of them didn't work because they were on their Indian reservations. But if you all work together, that's what we're here for. And about crime, there's no crime. Drunken driving, you get it anywhere. I can go right now and drive and drink and drunk. I'm just telling you, let's just all work together. This is all positive. Think positive. This is the year 2000, 1920.
My name is Don Mullen, 1405 First Street in Hudson, Wisconsin. I've been a resident here for 37 years. I served on the city government for about 15 years. I'd like to bring up one thing about zoning. Zoning laws are on the books to protect the property of the citizens of Hudson. And in that manner, you also have an opportunity through the city council to control what is built next door. We're talking about 55 acres being donated out of the city of Hudson, and also we're relinquishing all our rights, whatever they may be, to any control on that 55 acres. There's a traffic study made public on this issue. We already have a traffic problem out there, Carmichael, and the first phase of the casino covers 10,000 square feet. This engineer it didn't go any further because already at 10,000 square feet there's a severe traffic problem. I hope this project is turned down for the betterment of the city of Hudson's future. We don't need a casino in the heart of the city. If some other outlying towns 20 miles away want a casino, invite the people over there and build a casino where it's not in the city limits. Thank you very much.
I'm Terry Beaudry. I live in the town of Hudson. I've lived there for 65 years. And I don't see where this casino is going to hurt one darn bit. Now, back in '95, the Ford company went on strike. And they filled that parking lot out there with cars and trucks. Those cars and trucks were driven one at a time. And there was no traffic problem thanks to our good highway system. Now I realize that that was a few years back, but nonetheless there was no problem then and there doesn't have to be one now. Also, the dog track is, I believe, a Class 3 gambling place. Is that right? And yet the school decided that that was the place to build another school building. They didn't care then that there was a gambling place there. Also, because there was no traffic, the YMCA, did they say, we gotta close our doors, there's a gambling system here? No way. They said, let's expand. And that's exactly what's in the mill. The YMCA, in fact, is going to expand, even though they're right next door to a present gambling system. As I see it, yes, we are not going to get any taxes from these people. Therefore, City Council, I believe it's in your best, and I say best, you should really jump on the bandwagon now and write an agreement with these people so that you can get the most money from them that you possibly can. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bill Wilcox. I've lived in Hudson since I was 3 years old. My father used to be mayor of Hudson back in the times when the citizens started really getting together, was when, back in the late 60s, early 70s, when the age of majority came through and the state voted the legal drinking age from 21 to 18. I loved it. I could get it done with high school classes and go out and have a beer. But what happened then? The streets were clogged, absolutely clogged with people, cars. The police force, they had to have rental policemen all up and down the street. My father used to get calls all hours of the night. Howard, what are you going to do about that? I got some guy urinating in my bushes. I got some guy dumping beer cans on my yard, you know, throwing bottles through my windshield. Well, it kind of toned down because Hudson is a bar community, but what happened then, the next thing that happened was this dog track. We were going to make all this money on this dog track. I told Tony Saffold on Channel 4, I hate dogs, I hate gambling. What happened then? We ended up voting the mayor out of office, throwing him right out. So now we got this big white elephant out here. There's hardly anything going on out there. And now, you know, it's just like a sore on the community. We get this casino, it's going to open it up into a big wound. Why don't the concerned citizens, people that don't want this casino, put a Band-Aid on it? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bill Cadet. I'm the project manager for the Chippewa Meadows Casino. And I just want to, I see that you're all here because I'm here. So I really don't mean to impose on anybody. But let me tell you a little bit about where the way the tribes look at this. I represent the 3 tribal chairs and the 3 tribal councils. We have a lot of problems on the reservation. Reservation land is really different. It creates a lot of problems for us economically. We're kind of economically handcuffed. We don't have the same kinds of tools for economic development that you have in most communities like yourselves. We have to look at other kinds of mechanisms to do that. One of the mechanisms that became available was gaming. And in some communities it's quite successful. But in others like ourselves, it's a kind of a break-even opportunity, and we really can't attack the issues of housing problems that we have, the health problems we have. We're not able to go out to a doctor just down the street of your choice. We're stuck with whatever physician that the government provides for us. We have issues relative to education. A lot of kids that come from the urban areas and move back to the reservations, they have educational problems because it's an educational system that has failed Indian kids, and we do the best we can to educate those kids so they can become good, solid citizens too. We don't want anything different than what you have. We want good, safe communities. We want good things for our kids. We want good health. We want good education, and we want futures. Futures just like what you want for your kids and your emerging families. This casino here in Hudson gives us the opportunity to help ourselves because the government kind of give up on us and they're not meeting their obligations like they should. We basically give up northern Wisconsin in exchange for those services that they're now reneging on. I really want to thank the people here, the concerned citizens of Hudson's. I think it's great you're voicing your opinion. I think that's great that we're able to do this in in a meaningful fashion, and I applaud you all. Thank you very much.
Well, you may be surprised, but I'm happy to be following the last speaker.
Could you give your name, please?
My name is Brian Huffman. I live at 552 Omaha Road in Hudson. Our efforts to stop the casino have been called a sham and a farce. Now, we all know that the gambling interests in Florida are behind this, so what do? They find some poor people locally, and icing on the cake, they happen to be Native Americans, therefore those who oppose them are bigots. Will the bigots please raise their hands? Okay, seeing none, I think we have no bigots here. Are there poor people other than in northern Wisconsin? Yes, there are. There are poor people all over the world. This is about Florida gambling, okay? Simple. Florida gambling. They want to get rich. When they look for a partner, they look for a partner who's going to help them politically. What else do they have to offer? They have no money. There's farce number one. Farce number two. Those of us that are opposed to this do not have to be bribed. An earlier speaker didn't know what the meaning of the word bribe is. A business wants to locate here. We say, okay, here's an incentive. Is that a bribe? I don't think so. There's some quid pro quo. I tell you to sell out your constituency. That is a bribe. Third little piece of irony here. We hire a technical expert, they hire a technical expert. Who's our technical expert? A nationally recognized expert on gambling who's written books. But geez, we're not showing you any facts. Well, how many facts do you want? Do you attend the meeting? They hire an economist. Well, I'm a business professor. I could have gone up there and done as good a job as that guy. Anybody could. Their argument is sham, farce. They are the sham, they are the farce, they are pathetic.
My name is Bob Mudge. I'm from the village of North Hudson. I've represented the present track owners for, I guess, a long time, probably 12 years. I'm probably not the most popular guy with the people against the casino and people against the dog track. I recognize the same faces that I recognized 10 or 12 years ago, and we're still back here. Guess what I just wanted to do is straighten out a couple of things. There has been a lot of talk about the fact that we still owe the YMCA the money. We don't owe the YMCA any money. We built a $300,000 berm, which at that time we dealt with the YMCA board. They were delighted to have that berm, not only because of the dog track, but because of just traffic on Highway F, which is a big traffic, well, it's a big collector. If they came to us now and there's a casino and they said, we need a berm that runs farther down, these individuals would build the berm. They're concerned about things like that. These tribal members, I didn't have a chance to know them before. In the last 3 to 5 years, I've gotten to be good friends with a lot of them. They're individuals just like us, but they've got a lot bigger problems than we have. Another thing is that the hospital isn't going to come if there's a casino. That's not true. I'm the attorney for the hospital. I help buy the piece of property that they've got. They're not going to turn away. They are taking no position at this right now. That may change, but at this moment there's no position that they have on that. The other thing is a lot of you haven't been involved in this whole thing. We have one of the biggest intersections in probably 30 miles or 50 miles here in the city of Hudson. And it is designed to carry a ton of cars. And it will more than help, or more than carry the little bit of extra traffic that's going to trickle in this particular case. We've got, well, you laugh. We've got, you know, you look at this thing, and one thing that does bother me is well, thank you.
My name is Buzz Marzoff. I live in the town of Troy, and I've lived in this area since 1940. I'm a retired school teacher. Mr. Chairman and committee members, thank you for this chance to speak. Mr. Mudge, I would just like to call to your attention that the average traffic light on green is less than a minute. And I'm not sure where all this traffic that backs up is going to go during that flow of traffic that moves while the light is green. The tribes have promised $25 million to the communities that surround us and which ironically will not be affected as much as Hudson will be. In February, I read that the dog track owed $1,067,000 in back unpaid property taxes. I respectfully ask the owner of the dog track and the tribes to please put their money where their mouth is and pay their unpaid taxes before they promise $25 million to unsuspecting communities. The Christopher News Notes tell us that gambling is the fastest growing addiction in the United States, and that a debt, substantial debt, is the hallmark of the compulsive gambler. A recent study of 400 members of Gamblers Anonymous showed that these 400 members owed an average of $100,000 each. More than half admitted to stealing in order to finance their gambling. 2/3 of these 400 members indicated that they had contemplated suicide. Gambling has become one of the nation's favorite forms of entertainment, generating more revenue than movies, spectator sports, theme parks, cruise ships, and recorded music combined. In 1996, Americans spent more than $550
My name is Frank Lunkar. I live in St. Joe Township, but our family's life is centered around Hudson. If this casino is approved, I see a very bleak future for Hudson. What am I using as my model? The only other place where we see commuter-type gamblers for many years, what has happened? Atlantic City, New Jersey. Used to be a nice city. I used to go there for a summer vacation. Now it's a war zone. People come in buses and cars. They go directly to the casino, they spend their money in the casino, they leave. No money ever flows into the city because nobody ever leaves the casino. They'd be afraid for their life. The few people that do leave the casino are the ones who are looking for trouble. They're looking for prostitutes, liquor, anything, you name it. Money so they can go back and once again gamble some more. If you ever saw this, it's already considered a city that's beyond hope. This is despite the fact that they have 10 casinos there worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Where does the property tax money go? Nobody knows. Most of the mayors have been indicted and are in jail, and so are the city council members. That's what casinos do. They're very corrosive over the long term. They destroy our values. The same thing will happen here. I don't know if it'll happen on Carmichael Road or down here in the downtown, but we'll see the same thing. The only people who will come here into town from the casino are the troublemakers, and they will create a problem that eventually nobody will want to go down there, and the businesses will move elsewhere. In Atlantic City, the employees do not live in Atlantic City. Not one employee lives in Atlantic City. They all live in outlying areas. The same thing is happening now in, I believe it's called Tanika, Mississippi, outside of Memphis. They're actually seeing that the median income is going down because anybody who has a decent job moves away. Thank you.
My name is Francine Marlowe. I live at 865 Ross Road in the town of Hudson. I am a mother of children who lives in Hudson. That's all it takes to stand up here and speak out. I have the same technical advisor that you do. He's the man upstairs. He's the one who tells you what's a good moral judgment or not. If you look inside your heart and you decide that this is right, I think you're not listening well. When you teach people correct principles and they govern themselves, they will make correct choices. Gambling is getting something for nothing. It truly is a bad addiction. It affects many people in very different adverse ways. There are many other honest ways to make a living, and each one of you here and all of your children are capable of doing that, and it does not have to be through gambling. I strongly advise you, look in your heart, see what is right for yourself, your family, your children, and this community, and you yourself will make the right choice, and you will be able to live with that correct choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Dear people of Hudson, my name is Bobby Gray. I have lived here numbers of years. I've been a public health nurse in St. Paul and Stillwater. I really believe that the love of money is the root of all evil. I believe a casino is a predator, welcoming you with open arms, with good food, cheaper hotel rates, RV parking, and Tammy Wynette. And yet, their underlying agenda is to take the money away from families who already cannot put food on the table, have to have mothers and fathers working, children coming home without parents, children going to school without breakfast and warm clothes in the winter. I believe that we need to keep this temptation away. We have senior citizens who cannot afford to buy their medications. Let's keep our community a concerned, encouraging community without an underlying agenda present. Thank you very much.
My name is Mary Marzoff. I live at 276 East Cove Road in Hudson. I am totally against a casino going into Hudson in any location, especially at the dog track. Aside from my own well-being, I believe it will be detrimental to our community now and in the future. St. Croix County is a healthy, safe, beautiful, clean, quiet, and wholesome place to live. This community is in the process of building new schools, a hospital, nature preserves, expanding our YMCA and bike trails, keeping our roads litter-free, and protecting our waterways, etc. Please help us by keeping our area casino-free. I've attended the meetings and read the documents. A casino here will make it difficult, maybe impossible, for us to realize the potential of the important projects this community is working on. If you haven't had a chance yet to write your letter to Nancy Pierscala in Washington opposing the casino, you have just a few days. The deadline is the 30th of August. Please write that letter tonight. Thank you.
My name is Fran Breslin, and I will be living at 286 Chalazon within the next month. I'm a new resident to Hudson, but I'm not new to Wisconsin. We have several acres of land in various different counties in this state. My concern isn't as strong about the intersection out here in Carmichael as it is County Road F. We will be feeding the traffic from Prescott, River Falls, and everything along a county road that does not have the ability to sustain the traffic that it already has during busy times of the day. And right now, the driving that I've been doing on it has been giving me a fear that we'll be seeing nothing but a death trap along that highway. We know all the other problems that a casino can develop for a community, but besides the traffic, who's going to pay for the fixing of the road and improving it if the casino goes in? Native American communities do not pay taxes to the government or to the cities. We do, and it'll be our pocketbooks. It'll be fixing everything that breaks because of the casino. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brett Randolph. I live at 1605 Stone Pine Court in Hudson, Wisconsin. I just had a couple of things that I kept notes of during the discussion throughout the evening, and I've noticed a couple of things, that the facts presented, at least on the opponent side, A lot of them are very valid concerns, stating lots of different studies and empirical evidence in other cities. And on the other side, I wanted to note that the main thing that I got was that there's a few people that are angry at this city government, and that's the only reason I could see for them coming up. There's jobs to be brought into the city. There's a man who wanted to run dogs, and the gaming helps Indians. The other side is just almost too much to list. It's incredible. I came here, I wanted to learn more about why a casino would or would not be beneficial to Hudson. A lot of people gave empirical evidence. I have some of my own empirical evidence. I have a very dear friend that lives in a town by Syracuse, New York, and he has a house there that he can't sell. It's in disrepair now because he can't afford to keep it. He doesn't live in the area anymore, and it's due to basically a casino that came in. They started buying up more land. People were willing to sell it to the casino, and that money kept going out of the tax rolls. They started establishing businesses on there, and then the businesses didn't have to pay taxes because they were on the Indian land, and then the businesses in town folded. Now his town is unincorporated, and he can't sell his land until the casino maybe will come by and buy it from him. I know that's an extreme example. And I just also wanted to say that, I think that this town could bring some very good growth and jobs outside of the casino due to the number of people that we have with a high intelligence level that I've noticed. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Eric Johnson. I live at 1001 Cardinal Circle. I'd just like to ask everybody a question. At what price are you willing to sell your soul? At what price are you willing to sell your soul? My price is the environment at YMCA Camp St. Croix. I am not willing to sell that. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Tom Irwin. I live at 1321 Boulder Point Drive. I've been a resident in this community for 16 years. And I want to start by reading a quote by Chairman Gashkabash, who's the chairman of the Lakutaroi Band. And it's in regard to the 92 advisory referendum, which they use. They've been using that from the local level all the way up through Washington, D.C. to try to convince decision makers that this community wants a casino. This is the quote: "The majority voted in favor of a casino in the one referendum Hudson has held on the issue." I want to talk about the manner of that. That was in 1992, for those of you that were here, and it was the biggest campaign extravaganza I've ever seen. The city was plastered with campaign signs. They even had a huge banner across the 11th Street Bridge to catch the commuters on their way home. All of those signs said, "Vote yes to lower taxes." Nowhere on those signs did it say anything about a casino. This reads like a Paul Harvey story, and that's part of the other side. The other side, there's one more point to it, is there were two communities that were most affected, the city of Hudson and the town of Troy. The town of Troy also participated in an advisory referendum, and if you add the two votes together, they lost. But they leave that part out, and wouldn't that be nice if all of us as elected officials could ignore the communities we lose in and only count those that we win? I too believe it's important to carefully consider decisions made by our forefathers. Our forefathers did away with gambling a long time ago for some very sound reasons. I'd like to close in saying that if we want to talk about the scam of politics, why would we enter into a partnership with a developer who has a track record of suing everybody who opposes him into submission? I'm a concerned citizen, and that's why I oppose the casino.
Am I ready? Hi, good evening. I'm Tom McCormick, and I'm a resident of Hudson. I live at 1123 Briarwood Court, and I'm appearing here tonight to speak privately, but more importantly, as a member of the board of YMCA Camp St. Croix. Like Mr. Mudge, I'm an attorney in Hudson, but unlike Mr. Mudge, I do not have a personal economic stake in the opinions that I'm expressing tonight. Camp St. Croix was founded 91 years ago and is located south of the city, for those of you who don't know where it is. And I don't believe that any organization, business, or entity will be as adversely affected by a casino as the camp will be. And I say that because the camp is situated such that it shares 1/3 of a mile with the proposed casino site. And if we understand the projections correctly, the casino will be bringing in 12,000 visitors a day, and will also have Las Vegas-style advertising, including searchlights. Camp St. Croix, which serves 24,000 kids a year, will be devastated by that type of arrangement. We have a lot of nighttime programs that will not be compatible with that kind of noise level, nor with the illumination. And I'm just want everybody here to be mindful that there's a non-economic impact that goes way beyond anything that we're talking about. If the supporters are merely relying on economics, I would ask them to look at non-economic factors such as, do you want your town to be identified as that place that has the casino? If you do, then support it. If you don't, then I don't think you want to support it. And in closing, I'm going to offer the response of the camp to this, which is being presented to the Department of the Interior. Can I present that to you? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Carol Cranmer. I live at 511 Orange Street. I've lived there for 17 years, some of them longer than others. What can you say about the future of a town like Hudson in 2 minutes? I can say that I am not surprised that there is hostility and resistance to the plans and schemes of the Chippewa Meadows or Four Feathers or whatever those casino advocates are calling themselves. First, Mr. Fred Havenick of Florida and his Indian associates from way up north sued Hudson for $170 million. They hoped to send the city into bankruptcy. Then Mr. Havenick and his business partners prowled St. Croix County, offering what sure looked like funny money bribes to every community, large or small. These are people involved in promoting a predatory industry. They like to call it gaming. The word is gambling, and the reason that they say gaming is because gambling has some ugly connotations. They refer to their targeted customers as players, but they see them as marks, even victims. The fact that these victims are mostly elderly makes their casinos even uglier. Why would we want predators in our city who want to turn our neighbors against us, drive us into bankruptcy, and fleece our senior citizens? If you know the answer, then you may have my remaining 30 seconds of time. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jim Boer. I live in Troy Township. I'm opposed to the off-reservation gambling casino being considered for the Hudson Dog Track site in Hudson, Wisconsin. I raise kids in this community. It's a community of young and the old, the young new families that come here in the old river city bordered by the Lower St. Croix Riverway, a natural treasure surrounded by farms. My children are growing up in this community. Hudson has many new young families, making it a fast-growing little town. It's rural, surrounded by farms and rolling hills. It's a river town. The lower St. Croix Riverway flows past Hudson on the west edge of town. Downtown, there are many buildings older than 100 years and parking in many meters less than a quarter. The public boat launch is a nice place and it's still free, including the parking. Hudson is a quiet, wholesome town. It's small and personable. It's not a big city and doesn't have a big city culture. The casino idea isn't homegrown. It's not a homegrown idea with a community focus. An off-reservation gambling casino seems to me to be a big city thing, like Las Vegas or Atlantic City, not Hudson, Wisconsin. I can't see how my children will be better off with a gambling casino in this small rural town across the road from the future school site and in the way of their bike ride to town. I'm opposed to any off-reservation gaming casino being built. The voters of Hudson will not be better off financially supporting a casino, and our kids will not be better off dealing with its effects. I want you to deny the request, and all of your support I would appreciate in denying that request. Write those letters and not allow a casino in Hudson, Wisconsin. Thank you.
My name is Claudia Hart. I live at 978 Sherman Lane in Hudson. There are 100 different reasons why not to like this casino proposal, and I won't get into all of them. But one of the major ones I find is that intersection. I have lived near Chicago, in Indianapolis, and several other large cities. That is the worst planned intersection I've ever seen. I would rather drive Spaghetti Junction than go through that. And it does not require a lot of traffic. What causes it to be hazardous is lights that do not work because it was put up too quickly for the dog track, and also because people from out of state come in and they don't know which lane to get in. They have very little room to get to the interstate, so they cross in front of people. I have had 2 or 3 crisscross in front of me. I have seen numerous accidents at that place. I can't imagine it with any more volume of traffic on it than it has now. The casino has been opposed for quite a long time, the dog track for 13 years. I don't know how much more community has to do to prove that it is not wanted. People have gone door to door, I think more than the opponents have gone door to door, to find out where the heart of this community lies. I challenge them to go out into the townships, out door to door, and talk to people, not just the people who are downtown or have something to gain or are at the track gambling. I myself have been at racetracks. I have nothing against gambling, but a community has a right to say it is not wanted. We were told it would not be put where it is not wanted. Do we have to stand on our head any longer to prove this?
My name is Laurel March, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. My roots in the St. Croix Valley are very strong. My family, my great-grandmother and my great-great-grandfather came here in 1850. And what I'd like to tell you about that is that the history that my family chronicles is such that I can still go back to where they hiked, where they hiked, where they picnicked, and recognize the area because it's been preserved for us. I'm very proud to say that I'm a member of the YMCA Camp St. Croix board, and I'm here to speak on their 90-year history of preserving and protecting our community. But one thing I would very much like to share with you is that my career as a probation and parole officer in Washington County in Minnesota gives me the experience to speak on behalf of the law and order issue. I can attest to the truth of the studies that were cited here and the difficulty that casino gambling can bring to your community, the problems with addictions and the problems with law and order, and the very many law enforcement issues that currently aren't a reality in this community. I oppose the casino, and I oppose it on the basis of the behavior, the safety, the environment, and the law and order issues. And I would hope that all of you would write and oppose it also. And thank you so much.
My name is Regan Dewey, and I live at 1226 3rd Street. My husband and I moved here 2 years ago from Florida, and we chose Hudson because of the high quality of life that we could give our children and our family. I strongly support all of the reasons that I've heard tonight to keeping Hudson Casino free, and I feel that if the casino were to be built, that my husband and I, as well as many other new families that are moving here, would strongly have to consider staying in the St. Croix Valley, where the destruction of this beautiful community would be imminent.
Good evening. My name is Jim Kaler from Hudson. I think we should have a referendum on it because I polled my neighbors back in March for the what am I looking for? For the petition against it. 80% of my neighbors do not want this in Hudson, along with myself. I think we should consider the social impact statement along with an environmental impact statement. What is it going to cost for increase in police, jail space, judicial court cases, and social service impact in our community? I'd like to read you a paper that my daughter wrote for her English class about casinos. I'm just going to do excerpts of it because I think I'm not going to be able to have all the time. The introduction to gambling, and she refers to Mississippi and I believe South Dakota here. Introduction to gambling correlates to a marked increase in crime, and the Gulf Coast of state of Mississippi brought in casino gambling in 1992. 1 year later, armed robberies had tripled, bank robberies had jumped from 1 to 13, drug bust prostitution had risen also. The total number of crimes within a 30-mile radius around Atlantic City increased by 107% in 9 years, following the introduction of the casino at Atlantic City. The number of court cases filed in Tunasa County, Mississippi went from 689 in 1991, a year before the casino began operating there, to 11,000 in 1996. As a community, do we want to experience a similar rate in crime? By allowing a casino in Hudson, we may be opening new doors through which young people can and will commit crime. A 1997 survey of 12,000 6th through 12th graders in Louisiana found that 86% had gambled. A survey of Atlantic City, the high school students showed 64% had gambled. And there's more there about what high school students are doing in terms of gambling. Also, it's very hard on marriages. In South Dakota, the report of domestic abuse for children neglected had risen by 50% because of the gambling there. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kevin Cadidlo, and I live at 613 Old Mill Road. And I'd like to make some comments tonight based out of nostalgia for this community that I grew up in. My family moved here in 1960 when I was 1 year old. I graduated from Hudson High in '77, and just for the record, I think the prostitution that one of the proponents spoke of earlier must have been cleaned up by then, because I'm sure I had some buddies who would have known about it if it still existed. I left in '78 and I came back in 1990 to raise a family, and the community I came back to was a lot different than the community I left. When I was a kid, if Gary Bro, the mayor's son, and I needed to get a new baseball, we could ride our bikes down to Main Street to Ben Franklin. Today, if a kid needs a baseball, they have to risk life and limb riding a bike to Walmart, and that's without a casino and all the extra traffic. Traffic's a major concern of mine. I think it's easier to get off of Highway 36 and get in and out of Rainbow or Cub Foods and back on the highway than it is to get to our local grocery stores due to traffic. I think a casino and the resulting traffic will hurt the businesses in that area for that very reason. I think people will avoid it. Thank you.
My name's Larry Zyman. I live on 12th Street, close to the high school. And I haven't had many carrots dangled before me in my life, but about 10 years ago I had, at least from my limited perspective, a pretty big carrot. And as my wife and I tried to discern what the next step was in our life, we made a conscious decision that we wanted to come to Hudson not because of what we would make, but because of what we would become. And that principle still holds true for us today, that the question I'm most concerned about for my 13-year-old, my 11-year-old, and my 9-year-old, and my 13-year-old starting to act like one, is that I'm concerned most of what they're going to become. We were told to think positive a little while ago. I think positively about Hudson. I think positively of in 1991. I think positively of 2000. And Lord willing, I'm going to be here in 2021 thinking positively about Hudson. I just don't think we need to have the casino to be a positive community. This weekend I went to visit up my parents who are pushing 80 up in northern Minnesota. Along the way I drove by a trickle called Hinckley, right? There aren't trickles going on there. The one in Carlton, that could be legitimately called a trickle. This was on a Sunday evening, and that was quite a distance away. You take the proximity we have to the cities, the glorious intersection we have here inviting all to come, this is going to be a very different creature if we have a casino in this place. I strongly oppose the casino, and I oppose the casino for the same reason I moved here in 1991. I'm concerned about what we become. I think we'll become more here without a casino than if one comes. Thanks.
Before you start, you can spoken today? Yeah. Ask that you might have a little bit something.
Hi, my name is Heidi Helgeson. I live at 233 Glen Circle in the town of Troy, and I'm a 30-year resident of this area. And I remember 20 years ago when we had no fast food restaurants anywhere, and we had to drive all the way to St. Paul just to get a Whopper. And I don't think we have fast food restaurants here now because of the dog track. I think those would have come irregardless. I am here as a citizen of Troy to express my opposition to the casino for all the reasons I think that have been so well articulated tonight. And I'm also here as a member of the Town of Troy Board, Town Board. I am a supervisor on that board. And last week we unanimously passed a very strongly worded resolution stating our opposition to the dog track becoming a casino. And this was based on not only citizen input, but on a very extensive survey that we had done by the Cedar Corporation in Menominee, which I welcome anyone to come and take a look at the findings. They're very interesting and point very strongly to very negative effects to our community. So I just want it to go on record that the 6 by 6 square mile area south of where the dog track will be, that whole area, which is the town of Troy, does not want that dog track to be turned to a casino. Thank you.
My name is Dennis Ryan, and I live at 302 North Helen Street, and I've lived in Hudson in North Hudson for 6 years, and before that in Hudson for 6 years. And I am opposed to the casino project, but perhaps for some different reasons than others have articulated. I think others have done a good job of bringing out the features and benefits and the costs involved in casino gambling, so I won't even address that. My concern is the legality of this whole process. I'm not an attorney, but I did study constitutional law in college for 2 years. And I've read the Constitution, and I believe it says that the United States Senate is authorized to make treaties, all treaties with foreign nations. Legally, the Indian tribes are considered to be foreign nations. Now, I've been told that there is federal legislation which enables, I guess, the Bureau of Indian Affairs to do these kinds of things. Well, just because something is supposedly lawful by federal legislation, that doesn't make it constitutional, okay? Every year, the Supreme Court overturns legislation in the United States passed by both houses of the Congress, declaring them to be null and void and unconstitutional. The Constitution is supposed to be the supreme law of the land, at least that's what I was taught. And under our form of government, the House of Representatives and the Senate are supposed to be accountable to us, okay? If this goes through and you're unhappy with the results, who are you going to call?
Who are you going to complain to? Are you going to complain to Senator Cole, who has not voted on a treaty? Are you going to complain to Senator Feingold, who has cast no vote on this? They're not required to, right? I believe the Constitution requires them to.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Soderbeck. I'm on County Road JJ, 137 County Road JJ in River Falls. I do pass this intersection on Carmichael and 94 every day, going back and forth on my calls. I do own my own business, so my safety is a very big concern, especially if I want to stop at Menards or do any quick shopping on the way home. If any of you folks have gone through that intersection on any given day, and especially after a storm where maybe the lights were out, you know you're going to be sitting there watching lights change from red to green a few number of times before you have a chance at the plate. So my main point is safety through the intersection. Okay, now we have some outsiders that are now trying to tell us what we're going to do in our community. Well, my question is, sir, what good will this do to our community? Sure, we're hearing an awful lot of empty promises, and especially waiving a lot of bribes and things like that. Well, if they have $25 million worth of money that they're promising this county, why can't they afford their own doctors and their own police and their own education system so they can be as smart as everybody else? Okay, another point I have is that we do not want to sell our community short by taking such a bribe. We progress through education and hard work, and not from a slot machine and getting a rich quick idea and scheme. Do we really need to have this, and do you really believe that this will lower our taxes just like the gambling thing and the pari-mutuel thing 8 years ago? Let's try to improve our own business and labor area, and I don't feel that this will do any of that. And this will also destroy a lot of our family qualities and a lot of our family values by adding things to that. Thank you.
I'm Robert Schultz. I'm a resident of Hudson. I lived here for the last 22 years. And I've read in the paper the $25 million that they offer. If they're going to offer a bribe, why don't they offer a bribe right off the top, 25%, to support the whole county? And keep that bribe coming, not just one-time payment, because they're going to make $200 million a year when this place really gets going. And another thing is that I read the letters to the editor in the paper, and there are several of the people that write letters to the editor in the paper that I know of that are on Section 8. They pay $18 a month for rent, and we got to subsidize them to go to the casino? I don't think so, because that hasn't been a fair thing to me any time in my life of any damn kind of welfare. And as far as the Indians go, if you've ever been down to Prairie Island, you drive in there, you go right past the old part of the reservation in there. It don't look any damn different today than it did when I worked on a nuclear plant down there in 1970. The same damn old junky houses, dumpy yards, dumpy looking places all together. Here they got a big area or a big community center and great big hotel set up by the river and a big fancy casino. But where does that money go to them Indians? Does it go to them? Or does it go in some other big pockets that never gets to see the damn Indian reservation? I know better. Thank you.
I'm Reggie Coleman. I live at 1028 6th Street, Hudson. I oppose the casino on the basis of gambling. I think it has very negative social and moral, even spiritual aspects, that the impact of it, and I oppose it on that regard. I implore the council and anyone else in decision making to make the decision not based on a recreational issue, because apparently many Americans enjoy gambling. It must be a great economic boon to many communities, because gambling's prevalent everywhere. Even our own state endorses it, which is a little bit ironic. But I would implore those that are in the decision making to deny it, to say no, and not sell out for recreation or not sell out for economic gain that even maybe our city might gain from it. I don't know. But I think the spiritual and moral aspects are a far greater detriment than any economic or recreational aspects.
My name is Roger Blomquist. I live at 341 Wyndham Circle East in New Brighton, Minnesota. I'm with the firm of Environmental Resource Group located in Minneapolis. Our company provides environmental consulting services to private industry and governmental agencies. We were retained by the Minnesota Indian Gaming Association to review the environmental assessment submitted to the Bureau of Indian Affairs by the Four Feathers Group, first in draft form in February of this year and then in final form in July of this year. The purpose of that environmental assessment, as stated in the transmittal letter which accompanied it, was to address all of the environmental concerns related to the proposed Hudson Casino and to show that the casino would not be detrimental to the surrounding community. In fact, our study, which we conducted, revealed exactly the opposite. We found that the proposed casino is likely to be very detrimental to the surrounding community. We identified numerous significant adverse impacts on the city of Hudson and the surrounding St. Croix River Valley. A complete report of our findings will be made available to you. And now I'd just like to review a few of the key findings. The applicants have substantially underestimated attendance at the proposed casino and have substantially underestimated the ancillary development that will inevitably occur once the casino is in place. Traffic congestion near the casino will be substantially worse than projected by the applicants. My colleague Marie Cody will explain that in greater detail in just a moment. The existing wastewater treatment capacity is inadequate to handle the proposed casino and other planned developments in the area. Air, noise, and light pollution will increase with the presence of the proposed casino and its associated increased vehicular traffic, creating adverse effects on residents and wildlife in the area. Stormwater runoff from the parking lots during significant storm events will enter directly into the St. Croix River, carrying particulates and nutrients, which could damage water quality.
Hi, my name is Marie Cody. I work for SRF Consulting Group in the Twin Cities. ERG has hired SRF to conduct a study to determine the combined traffic impacts on the Carmichael Road system related to the proposed casino, future planned development in the study area, and also background growth. The analysis operations, the results indicated that based on the existing PM peak hour traffic volumes, currently all four key intersections, which include from the I-94 ramps, north ramps to Center Drive, all currently operate at an acceptable level of service, B or better. The way that a level of service works is that level of service ranks from level of service A, which is your best operations, to level of service F, which is where failure occurs. Generally, the level of service D is considered acceptable. Although the intersection of Carmichael Road and Stage Line Road, Crestview Drive operates today at an acceptable level of service, there is heavy traffic volumes to and from the west. One of the main reasons why that intersection operates at an acceptable level of service is due to the lack of development on the east side of Carmichael Road. As you will see, future development of the Stage Line Road area, which is east of Carmichael Road, will have a significant impact on this intersection. The analysis results of 2020 or full build conditions indicate that 2 of the 4 intersections will operate at an unacceptable level of service E. This is based on the assumption that full build of the Stage Line Road area and the minimum build of a 50,000 square foot casino. The casino alone does not cause the Carmichael Road system to fail. 2 of the 4 intersections will reach capacity with the high intensity of the Stage Line Road area being developed and background traffics in the year 2020. With the addition of the casino at minimum build, 50,000 square feet, these intersections will fail. Thank you.
Hello. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to address you. My name is Sandra Calland. I'm a youth minister here in Hudson, Wisconsin. My permanent address has been 370 Tower Road for the last 33 years. I was raised in this community. 330 Tower Road is just south of the track. We border the land. And I've heard many pros and cons as to why to do this dog track, or why to do the casino. But from the cons, for the pros, I hear them talking about what was good for them, what they would like, or what they wanted. And from the people that have been against the tract, I've heard so much more about what's good for my children, what's good for my family, what's good for the community. And I think that that's what we need to focus in on, as what is right. I remember before the track went in, coming home from college for the first time and looking up at midnight in the middle of the winter and seeing a sky full of beautiful stars, and realizing that I missed that because I'd been in a big city, and that was so wonderful. And when the lights came in at the track, there were no more beautiful stars in the sky above my house. And the lights have made a difference in where I live. And I'm saying that if a casino comes in, it's going to make a larger difference in that. Do we want that difference for our children? Or do we want them to be able to enjoy the beauty that is St. Croix County, that is the city of Hudson, that is the river, that is the wildlife that's here? Do we want them to be able to enjoy what God has given us? Thank you.
My name is Jerry Peterson, and I am a concerned citizen of Hudson too that oppose this thing because of the mindset. Once you get your mind on gambling, your mind will want to go back to it again and again and again and again and again until your mind does not work anymore. People out there opposing and for gambling, it's not right. We should have our own community center there, or something that would be better than the gambling thing. Thank you.
I am David Kelly, and my wife is Catherine Kelly, and we are old-time residents of this community, and we are very concerned about its future well-being and of its citizens, and especially of the young people. We do not in any way need the degrading influence of a casino, nor the detrimental effect it would surely have on the young, on the compulsive gamblers, or the environment, and the monetary costs to all citizens for police protection, sewage and water systems, and traffic controls. In no way are we obliged to rescue the failing dog track or its Florida backers who pushed themselves into this community. Let's rescue our community from them and find some positive use for the almost uselessness of the dog track. We should tear it down, or it has been a burden and a problem and has benefited this community hardly at all. We are very appreciative of the strong support of the city of River Falls, which would be quite close to the casino, and the support of the town of Troy, which would be immediately adjacent to it, in opposing the casino. We deeply appreciate also the support of the St. Croix County Board, which represents the entire county, for opposing the casino. Thank you.
My name is Phil Fable. I'm the chairman of the Board of Management of the YMCA Camp St. Croix. I'm proud to say that we had 20 members of our board here tonight supporting our opposition to the casino. I'm especially proud to say that most of them are still here. For 90 years, Camp St. Croix and the City of Hudson have enjoyed a unique relationship. We trust that the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Department of Interior, the Governor of the State of Wisconsin, the City of Hudson will do the right thing, and that relationship will continue at least another 90 years.
My name is John Duntley. I live at 424 North Glover Road in Troy, and I am the executive director of the YMCA Camp St. Croix. And also would like to just reiterate our opposition to the proposal to put a casino at the dog track. I want to comment on a couple of things that our volunteers have done. We spent considerable time reviewing the environmental assessment that was submitted on behalf of the Chippewa Meadows Gaming Group. And we've looked at the various environmental reports that have been prepared by others. And we've concluded our own findings in the report that will be submitted to the Department of the Interior, as well as a copy that was just presented earlier by one of our volunteers for the purposes of the City Council. We really find that the impact from the casino would be very detrimental to our programs at the camp. And in fact, just as the woman up here a few minutes ago commented on the light, we're already dealing with the impacts that are in place from the dog track. And at present, it's maybe only 3 or 4 nights a week, and it's only 400 people at each of those performances. But when the casino would come, it would be upwards of 7,000 to 12,000 people a day, which is a considerable addition. It's been commented tonight that the school purchasing property in the area and the Y expanding its camp, it was a foolhardy or perhaps imprudent thing to do. The fact is, we did those things together in a consolidated effort to really provide the community with great resources. We did those things under the discussion with city, county, and township folks who felt that the casino was not going to be occurring. And in fact, under the Department of Interior ruling in 1995, the casino was not going to happen. We also heard an attorney suggest that the dog track owners had committed and completed their commitment to protecting the camp's environment. That, in fact, is not true, and that information is also in our report that's submitted for the record. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Paul McGinnis. I'm a resident of the Township of Troy, 361 Southern Pacific Road. I'm also a healthcare provider in the community. I wish to come as a representative of my partners and myself to indicate that we do have some concerns about the proposed creation of a distant reservation. We find that the 1994 environmental assessment is silent in the areas of some of the major health concerns that we have regarding this casino. Those include 3 areas primarily. One is the impact on the gamblers and their families as they develop problems of addiction and problem gambling. We feel that those problems can have a devastating impact on families, including bankruptcy, stress, abuse, depression, and suicide. We also found in reviewing the literature that's available to us that there's a substantially increased risk to adolescents in the areas of problem gambling and pathological gambling, with rates cited of anywhere between 4 and 16% of youth that are evidencing these types of behaviors. Lastly, we were concerned that the individual problem gambler's health may be impacted by increased rates of depression and suicide, which is well documented. Problem gamblers are also less likely to have money for vital nutrition, adequate nutrition, and vital medications. Visits for needed health care may be delayed or not performed. Alcohol and drug dependency may be coexisting conditions. Finally, we're concerned that the development of a casino near a site where we hope and intend to move our entire practice and all the ancillary services that we provide would provide some major concerns regarding traffic and traffic volumes into that area. Increases of traffic volume from 2,500 to 25,000 vehicles per day are attributed to the casino. When added to the traffic generated by our healthcare business as well as planned commercial and residential development using the same thoroughfare, we're concerned it may cause substantial congestion. In conclusion, we urge that the proposed creation of the distant reservation not take place. If one is to be established, we feel that these concerns need to be addressed in detail. Thank you.
My name is Linda Burks, and I'm at 2221 Hanley Road. Just have a few words that I think that's fitting for this time. In Proverbs 1:33, "But who hearkens to me wisdom shall dwell securely and in confident trust, and shall be quiet without fear." And I believe this for our town, that we don't have gambling.
My name is Steve Nielsen, and I'm a resident of the city of Hudson. It's difficult for me to stay seated and not respond when somebody tells me directly or suggests indirectly that because of the past wrongs that this country has done to Native Americans, I have to allow a casino in my community. It would be more sometime earlier this evening, an individual came up and said that he had served in Vietnam and that a disproportionate number of Native Americans served in Vietnam. And while that is true, it would be more meaningful to say that there were a disproportionate number of disadvantaged or poor people that served in Vietnam. And that's always been the case. All throughout civilization, it is always the disadvantaged. If you looked at just the white population exclusively, you would find that a disproportionate number of poor white people served in the front lines in Vietnam, and it's always been that way. And that's what we must fight to change. And that is exactly why casino gambling is wrong. Casino gambling creates victims. It preys on the disadvantaged. It was probably not 5 years ago when a major Twin City media outlet did a study of gambling, and they found that in one of the leading casinos, I believe it was Mystic Lake, over 200 welfare checks cashed each week in that casino. That's why I'm against gambling, because it preys on the disadvantaged. It may provide money to Indians, but there is still going to be the disadvantage, whether they be black or Hmong or white, and that's what we must stop. We must always teach our children in our schools what we did to Native Americans in this country. It must never be forgotten. But the answer to that is to teach respect for all life. We don't teach our children just to be nice to Indians. Teach others as you would have them treat you. Treat all others fairly. And that's not what I would be doing if I allowed gambling in this community, because I know it's going to create victims. It's going to take advantage of the disadvantaged. Thank you.
Are there any other people here that have not spoken for the first time that wish to speak either in support or in opposition of the casino? The application, the environmental assessment. Okay, hearing no people voicing that they wish to speak for the first time, we did type out the rules for tonight's activities for speaking, and one of the rules was everybody got to speak once, and we've discussed this with our city attorney, and we're going to stick with those rules. In order to create a whole second round where everybody gets to speak twice would put me going to bed around 12 o'clock. So we've given everybody one shot. We appreciate you taking the time to come this evening. On behalf of the City Council of Hudson, I do appreciate you all attending. The City Council does appreciate that, and have a good evening and a safe ride home. Thank you.